Colorado's flashiest firefighting helicopter is back after some poorly timed maintenance. It's joining dozens of other resources already in the air. New orders from President Trump could change the statewide response to homelessness. What happens when a soon-to-be mental health professional has struggles of their own? A new training program wants to get them over those hurdles and into a job.
It feels good to know that, you can get your education and it's attainable.
And what's so unique about a driver passing dozens of cars? The driver is me. The technique is called a zipper merge, and I'll show you how it works in the wild next. An almost 100-degree day does not help firefighters battling firefighters across the state. You know what would? A state-owned Firehawk helicopter, which is now back in service after nearly 2 weeks of required maintenance, conveniently in the middle of the summer fire season. Our Mark Salinger found out a lot of other planes and helicopters have been sent to Colorado to help.
These circles and jagged lines on a map north of Durango don't look like much, but for a state that has at least 6 active wildfires, the Firehawk helicopter flying over a fire again is welcome news. The state's $24 million converted Blackhawk was grounded for required maintenance for nearly 2 weeks this month as the fires grew. The state says the helicopter had to get work done after hitting a certain amount of flying hours. Now it's back in the air, and soon a second one will be too. Colorado's second Firehawk helicopter will arrive very soon, according to the state, and will be available after training and test flights are completed. Its delivery is expected next month, highlighting a $50 million investment by the state to buy its own firefighting helicopters. But federal and regional assets have also flooded into Colorado. At least 8 air tankers are now flying in the state. A team of smoke jumpers flew in this weekend, and at least 17 firefighting helicopters contracted by the Forest Service, Department of Interior, and the state are all here right now, according to the Rocky Mountain Area Coordination Center. In Durango, the air tanker base is pumping record numbers of retardant to battle fires in Colorado and Utah. Nearly 700,000 gallons this year already. And more than 750 firefighters from 15 states as far as New York and 8 federal agencies are all here as well. Now they also have the support of Colorado's $24 million Firehawk.
We've also seen assets be redirected to different fires as they start. Just this weekend, planes fighting the South Rim fire in Montrose were sent to La Plata County to battle 2 new fires that started there. Kind of a constant game of whack-a-mole as Colorado deals with this hot and dry summer, Mark.
Okay, we've talked about this Firehawk helicopter being taken out of service for maintenance. It's not like somebody scheduled maintenance like in the middle on purpose. It's based on time in the sky.
So our understanding from the state is that every certain amount of hours, the Firehawk has to be taken out of service and do maintenance to do whatever they do with helicopters, and that is all based on time in the sky, hours flying, and it just so happened to be that fell in the middle of summer fire season. The question is, of course, like if you're going on a road trip, do you plan to do an oil change in the middle of the road trip, or do you do an oil change before that? So I don't know if that's possible, but yes.
We need to find, as our producer Mallory Harris asked, can you do it like 10 hours earlier than you're
ahead of
supposed to?
time.
We need to find that out. Okay, thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Oh, Colorado has joined yet another lawsuit against the Trump administration. Colorado is one of 20 Democratic-led states suing over the administration's attempt to get personal information of low-income families on food stamps. The lawsuit is over funding that could be withheld from states that do not turn over information like Social Security numbers and home addresses for people who use the SNAP food assistance program. More than 600,000 Coloradans receive SNAP benefits. Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser, Democrat, says the state expects to receive almost $100 million for the program, and any delay would put families at risk. The lawsuit argues demanding the information violates privacy laws. This is the administration's latest attempt to use federal agencies to gain access to Americans' personal information. In May, a federal judge declined to stop the IRS from sharing sensitive taxpayer information with the federal government in an attempt to track down undocumented immigrants. We're already seeing the financial impacts of the Trump-backed budget bill. Colorado's Division of Insurance says insurance providers are already asking for massive premium hikes in 2026 as some key tax credits are set to expire. People who get their insurance from the marketplace and not from an employer may see an average premium increase of 28% next year, according to the Colorado Division of Insurance, with even higher increases for folks on the Western Slope and in rural areas. The state blames federal policy changes, including the expiration of the enhanced premium tax credit, which helps middle-class families pay for insurance. The 28% increases are not final, It's an estimate based on requests from insurance companies, but it's 5 times the increase from last year. Consumer advocates are also calling on state leaders to ensure insurance companies are not capitalizing on the chaos.
I have never seen an increase like this before. I've never seen a proposed increase like this before. We are moving forward with the assumption that this is an overcorrection to chaotic policy choices, potential market instability, right? Rules that have changed. And so when we get the full filing information, we're going to be digging into those.
Colorado's insurance commissioner says his office will push back on any increases that are not justified and will reduce those rates as much as possible. The final rates will be published in October, and the state believes about 100,000 Coloradans will lose coverage if those rates do take effect. Cities around the Denver metro area are creating initiatives and funding new programs for homelessness. President Trump wants to strip that funding and criminalize homelessness. Our Angeline McCall is here with how the president's plan may affect the Denver area's approach to homelessness. Angeline?
Yeah, Marshall, in one of Trump's latest executive orders, it really singles out homelessness policy, suggesting people should be removed from the streets, potentially committing them for mental health or drug treatment involuntarily against their will. Trump is also directing his administration to prioritize funding cities that are harsh on homelessness, like cities that are cracking down on open drug use and street camping. The order states, quote, "It's not compassionate to do nothing." Cities like Denver have taken a different approach, instead investing in services and resources. We spoke with the clinical director of the Department of Human Services and Counseling at MSU Denver, who says research suggests that there is a better approach.
Yeah, I do think we've seen great strides in terms of appropriate services and supports to individuals who are unhoused in the Denver area, in the Boulder area, and to then perhaps hamstrung these cities by withholding funding, of course, is going to undo that. And we're going to see an increase in individuals who need support but don't have access to the right support.
The order would make it easier for states and cities to remove outdoor encampments, as well as suggest that they enforce camping bans. Marshall?
Angeline, I can't help but think that you have politicians in one way or the other always say, stay out of local business, local control. And in this state, it's happening from the Democratic side, and we're talking about something from the Republican side nationally, trying to say, this is the way I like to do something, now do it that way. I'm sure that's going to get a lot of pushback.
Yeah, certainly. And I think a lot of the cities and municipalities in our area are really trying to figure out what this means, right? How much funding would be potentially withheld? What kind of policies are going to be impacted? This just came out a few days ago. And so I think the real concern here is, we kind of don't want our funding stripped, obviously, but we also want to try to do the right thing. And that may go against this Trump policy and executive order. But, wait and tell, really.
I smell another lawsuit that Phil Weiser might want to be a part of. Thank you, Angeline. While crews are still battling fires burning across the western slope, Next viewers are chipping in to help communities prepare themselves before the next big fire. Here's Kyle with an update on this week's Word of Thanks micro-giving campaign.
Thanks for being with Next while I'm away, and thank you for the work that we did together last week to raise funds to mitigate the wildfire risk on the western slope as several wildfires burned there. Your donations raised more than $35,000 for the West Region Wildfire Council, which is on the ground doing that mitigation work right now. If you have an idea of where our dollars could be put to use best next, email me, next@9news.com, or text next at 303-871-1491. I'll be back on Wednesday with a new idea of where we can help.
Coach Prime is using his health journey and his celebrity to tell men to grow up.
We helping some folks today. There's some folks right now calling the doctors, scheduling checkups.
Coach Prime told us he's free from cancer after revealing he had cancer, and then he encouraged men to go to the doc. And if Colorado is going to address a mental health crisis, we're going to need more mental health professionals. A new grant is trying to get more people into the field. A far-right podcaster and Colorado business owner whose claims have become central to election rigging conspiracies has been ordered to pay thousands of dollars to a former voting machine executive. Joe Olman claims he listened to an Antifa conference call where a Dominion Voting Systems employee named Eric Coomer bragged about rigging the election. But Olman has not provided proof the call happened, and he refused to answer questions under oath about how he got on the alleged call. Today, a judge ruled Olman has to pay Coomer and his attorneys nearly $54,000 in fees for dragging out a defamation case that relies on Oltman's unproven claim. Olman's claim was also central to the recent defamation trial of MyPillow guy Mike Lindell, who repeated Olman's claims about that Dominion Voting Systems executive. A jury in Denver found Lindell liable for defamation and ordered him to pay $2.3 million. As we speak, Denver City Council is getting an earful from the public about some questions that could be headed to the ballot in November. Up for debate is the city's long-standing agreement with Excel and a nearly $1 billion bond package asking taxpayers to foot the bill for dozens of city projects. First, voters could be asked to approve the city's 20-year franchise agreement with Excel. It's an expansive agreement that lets Excel use the city's right-of-way for utility infrastructure and governs how Excel maintains equipment like streetlights and traffic signals. The city's Transportation and Infrastructure Department estimates a 3% franchise fee on customers' bills adds $30 million a year to the city's general fund. They also estimate an agreement requiring Excel to relocate their equipment to make way for city construction projects has saved the city $3 billion over the past 2 decades. Some city council members are concerned voters will use the opportunity to voice their frustration with Excel. And city council members could also narrow Denver's $950 million wish list, depending on tonight's feedback. Denver Mayor Mike Johnston's office has been pushing for the bond package, which would fund transportation and infrastructure projects, improvements to city facilities and community spaces, parks and housing projects. Johnston's office says it won't raise taxes because it is replacing an existing bond. City Council is supposed to have a final vote on the bond project list next week, and voters will have the final say in November. Kathy is here. My proposal, not a bond proposal, my proposal is to get quickly to Wednesday's weather, I think, is my favorite day of the week.
I know. You like cooler weather, right?
I do.
And rain?
I can handle, yeah, rain.
Just not
overcast
snow.
Would be like 60s, 70s, overcast, I'll take that.
Okay, but what about snow?
Yeah, I'm ready for snow already.
Okay, well, that's not in there. I don't have that for you.
Why?
I do have sunshine today, which got us close to 100 degrees this afternoon. This is probably the 3rd day in a row. And we're looking live at Lyman now with high clouds out there because I think on the Eastern Plains the next couple of days, we're going to see some spicy weather out there. Current readings, 94 in Denver, 100 in Greeley, 100 in Sterling, and 100 degrees in Ray. So yeah, it is warm, it's dry. This is day 31 of 90 degrees or better. The average is 46 days and the record 75. I'm watching the wind because it's warm, it's dry, elevated fire danger, and the limited storm development that we're seeing does have lightning with it. We're right kind of on the fringe of a line of storms that have rotation, hail, lightning, all part of a weak front that's going to bring us down into the 80s tomorrow. Best chance for showers will be along the Colorado-New Mexico line. A little thunder and lightning down there as well. We'll get a clear night tonight, increasing clouds tomorrow, a cooler day tomorrow, and then we've got a chance at seeing some afternoon thunderstorms. But really the day with the heavy rain and flood threat will be Wednesday. So not a super great night for sleeping with temperatures overnight in the 70s, but your 7-day forecast shows cooler weather. Marshall ordered up highs in the 70s and 80s for Wednesday and Thursday. Rain, that may be too much of a good thing for some areas. We may have a little bit of flooding to deal with ahead of a nice warm weekend with highs back in the 90s.
70s would be nice. Thank you, Kathy. You're not sick if you don't go to the doctor. We all know someone who has that mentality. Today, when Coach Prime announced he has successfully been treated for bladder cancer, he also called out men to go to the doctor. Coach says he wasn't showing any signs of bladder cancer when his doctors found it during a routine scan of his vascular system. Doctors gave him a couple options: keep his current bladder and get intensive treatment over the next few years, or remove it. Coach Prime decided it was best to remove his bladder and get a new one made from his small intestine, which he says will give him more freedom to coach without interruption. And then he told men to grow up.
Without wonderful people like this, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today because it grew so expeditiously, I could say. But please get yourself checked out, especially African-American men. We don't like going to the doctors. We don't like nothing to do with a doctor. You know that. So I'm not just talking to the brothers. I'm talking to my Caucasian brothers, my Hispanic brothers, my Asian brothers, my everybody, and my sisters. And that's all, y'all. Get checked out, because it could have been a whole nother gathering.
The American Cancer Society estimates about 84,000 people will be diagnosed with bladder cancer this year. They estimate bladder cancer patients have a 5-year survival of 72 to 97%, that's high, if it's caught in the earliest stages when the cancer is still in the bladder. Colorado's mental health professionals are struggling to keep up with a growing need.
There is a gap in behavioral health where there is a high demand need in Colorado.
A grant program wants to help more students transition into a waiting workforce. Next. Colorado is facing a significant shortage of mental health professionals. Our Byron Reed shows us a unique program to fill that void.
Because I want to better myself and also help my community.
For mental health care professionals, the struggle is real.
The healing process is a communal thing.
Khadijah Venable and Adriana Singleton are students in a program that's trying to find a solution to a gap in underserved communities.
I just wanted to be a person of color and that's similar, and having family members, you know, dealing with a variety of things that can be a person that can relate to them.
As someone of color, it's very difficult to get, mental health, serious mental health, somebody to take you serious.
They're students in the Thrive in Mind Career Pathway program, created to prepare, support, and place them in mental health care jobs without student debt.
It feels good to know that, you can get your education and it's attainable.
The pathway is intended for working adults and parents who want to enter the mental health care industry. Students are paired with paid hands-on apprenticeships designed to address a shortage of mental health professionals.
There is a gap in behavioral health where there is a high demand need in Colorado.
Nina West is the head of student recruitment and enrollment for Advanced EDU. The group was recently awarded a nearly $1 million grant from the state to build the program.
This really is bringing more individuals and helping them to gain certifications along the way so they can start working in the field even sooner.
The program is in partnership with the Colorado Community College System. Students can earn credentials in fields like mental health support, addiction recovery, and social services.
They can start with our first credential, which is a patient navigator certificate, and then they can move up to a behavioral health assistant 2 certificate, and those are stackable into an Associates of Applied Science degree in mental health and social work.
Both Khadijah and Adriana are looking to solve a shortage and help others in their communities battling issues with mental health.
When you think about mental health, people think negative about it, and I want to be the change of it.
For Next, I'm Byron Reed.
Your feedback about my family of all things, and an important PSA. Next. We end with your feedback as always, but tonight I want to shout out a viewer I've been meaning to get back to for a while. Jim has written us a few times seeking a quantitative explanation for how zippering speeds up traffic. Jim, what I have for you is Exhibit I-70. I was on my way to Watkins for a story a couple of weeks ago and hit this long line of traffic about a half mile ahead of a lane closure on I-70 east of Aurora. The pickup truck in front of me had the right idea for 18 of the vehicles we passed. When the pickup finally joined the long line, becoming the 19th vehicle I passed, I did what a Zipper Pro is supposed to do. I went to the lane closure, and by the time I hit the end, I had passed 35 cars and semis. I merged right in, never even had to slow. I didn't have to slow anyone behind me in the right lane because the space I took over was left empty from the semi, still trying to get up to speed. So there we have Exhibit I-70 for how zippering works. Jennifer with our feedback tonight. It's excellent anchoring as always from Marshall. That's not the point of this. It ends with my delightful humor in hearing Pippa and McKenna stories, which are a bonus. I thought she had written that she could hear Pippa and McKenna. My family showed up to see behind the scenes today. And can you say zipper merge? Yeah, we've taught the zipper merge at a young age. We'll see you next time.